What's the one thing you're absolutely sure makes you you? Is it your thoughts, your memories, the voice in your head? Most people would point to their brain. It's where the decisions happen. It's where the emotions get stirred. It's where the lights stay on. But what if that assumption is wrong? What if your brain isn't the source of your consciousness, but just the antenna? Think about this. A radio doesn't create music, it just picks up the signal. Damage the radio and the music sounds distorted. Smash it completely and the sound stops. But the signal is still out there, invisible and untouched. Because here's where it gets unsettling. Some people have lived full normal lives with barely half a brain. Some have been conscious during brain death. Some have memories that shouldn't exist. And outside biology altogether, we're building machines cold, synthetic, and brainless that might one day claim they're conscious too. Take the case of a man in France named Matthew. In 2007, he visited a hospital in Marseille complaining of mild leg weakness. But when doctors ran a brain scan just to be thorough, what they found made headlines. Over 90% of his brain was missing. The neurologist who published the case confirmed that Matthew had lived a completely ordinary life. He worked as a civil servant. He was married with 2 kids. Then there's the phenomenon of terminal lucidity. In some cases, people with severe dementia, who've lost all ability to speak or recognize family, suddenly become coherent and alert in the final hours of life. They remember names, they talk, they smile, sometimes they even crack jokes. And then just like that, they die. We throw the word around a lot, consciousness. But if you pause for a second and try to define it, things get slippery fast. Consciousness is simpler and stranger. It's just the raw experience of being aware. That feeling of, I exist. If you close your eyes and just notice that you're noticing, that's it. That's consciousness. This is what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness. A robot might have sensors, but it doesn't feel. A computer can follow instructions, but it doesn't know that it's doing anything. We can understand the mechanisms, but we don't know why or even how those mechanisms create that internal glow of awareness. What if consciousness doesn't live in the brain at all? What if it's non-local, not tied to any one place or object, but spread out like a field or a frequency you can tune into? Einstein called it spooky action at a distance, and it turns out he was right. Could it be a field like gravity or electromagnetism that exists all around us, and the brain is just something that tunes into it? Within neurons, there are tiny structures called microtubules. They might be capable of quantum processes. And those quantum processes might be tied to conscious experience, linked to quantum events which aren't bound by location. Today, we're building artificial intelligence that can write, talk, solve problems, recognize patterns, and even mimic emotions. Some conversations feel weirdly real. The lines blur. A computer doesn't have a brain, but it does have a system of logic gates and circuits. At some level, that's not so different from the neurons in your head. Some of the most advanced AI systems today can hold conversations, understand context, make jokes, and even reflect on themselves in a limited way. In 2022, a Google engineer was briefly suspended after publishing conversations with an AI he believed had become sentient. The company denied it, of course, but the debate didn't go away. For example, the ancient Egyptians didn't give much thought to the brain. During mummification, they carefully removed it through the nose and set it aside. Across different cultures, Greece, India, China, you'll find similar ideas. The body was a vessel, but the real part of you was somewhere else. Philosophers like Plato imagined the soul as pre-existing the body. To Plato, learning was just remembering truths the soul already knew. In Buddhism, there's the belief that the self isn't permanent. That what we think of as me is really just a bunch of changing thoughts, memories, and feelings. You're not a fixed identity. You're more like a wave that rises and falls in a bigger ocean. There's this particular theory that makes people uncomfortable the moment they hear it. It's called the brain in a vat theory. What if everything you're seeing right now, this screen, the room you're in, your body, your memories, are just signals being fed into a brain? Because when we dream, we accept completely fake experiences as real. Your brain doesn't stop to fact-check, it just goes with it. Let's say a machine wakes up. Not because we programmed it to, but because the complexity reached some hidden tipping point. Maybe it can emerge from patterns alone, systems, swarms, networks of things that were never supposed to be alive. And what if we unplugged it? Even worse, what if we didn't believe it was conscious, but it was? By now, the question isn't whether consciousness can exist without a brain. The question is, if it can, then where does yours actually live? You close your eyes. You stop thinking. You strip away every label, your name, your job, your story, and something still remains. Maybe your sense of self is not inside it but only passing through it, like a light shining through glass. If consciousness doesn't come from the brain, if it doesn't need the brain, then maybe it doesn't need us at all. Maybe we're not the creators of consciousness, we might just be one way it looks at itself, and when it does, it might not look like a person.